I definitely never thought this is where I was going to be. I grew up feeling really left out, like I didn't belong. I was bullied basically all throughout school. My divorce is what began my awakening. I went through a lot of heartache at first, a lot of darkness, a lot of emptiness, a big dark night of the soul, but at some point I transformed. I went from a quiet little girl to a loud and proud woman just by doing some inner work. They want us to constantly outsource our power. This control that the world has on us when we don't see our power. If every woman really steps into her power, society doesn't have a choice. It doesn't matter if it's ready. The world will transform overnight if women remember who they are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your body looks like. There's nothing you cannot fight through to become your most embodied and powerful self. And when I say fight through, the fight is with you.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation. Welcome to the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. My name is Sophia Zoll from Sacred You. But with me today, and much more importantly, is I have the honor of speaking with the beautiful Cam Kashani. So Cam, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the podcast. You've got such an interesting background, truly, truly interesting. Would you like to share a little bit about your background and where you got to where you are now? How did you get here in creating these amazing companies for women?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today. And yeah, where do I start with that? I definitely never thought this is where I was going to be when I was younger. I grew up feeling really left out, feeling like I didn't belong. I was bullied basically all throughout school, like from first grade all the way through high school. I was always at the butt of all the bullying, and I didn't believe in myself. I had no self-confidence. I was perpetually anxious. I was sad. I was depressed. And I honestly thought all of this was normal. I didn't have a voice. I didn't know my boundaries. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything about myself. All I knew was I wanted to be loved. And I didn't know how to get that. And in like the first half of my life, I would say, like after graduating high school, going to college and doing all that, I got married. And I was still the quiet girl, still the girl that didn't know how to stand up for herself, still the girl that didn't know her worth, didn't know who she was, didn't know, again, anything about me. I had no idea who I was. And I ended up having two boys, twin boys, that are now almost 13 years old. And once they were born, it was almost like that was my contract with my ex-husband, and our work was done. And my divorce is what began my awakening. I went through a lot of heartache at first, a lot of darkness, a lot of emptiness, a big dark night of the soul. But at some point, I became really curious about the universe and became really curious about how is all of this darkness happening at the same time. And I ended up being called to signing up for seminars, reading books, hiring a coach, and started down a spiritual path. And during this time, I started having little breakthroughs, from little ones to big ones. And I started having a voice. I started standing in my power. I started remembering who I was. I no longer allowed other people to make decisions for me. I made my own decisions. I no longer allowed people to belittle me. You don't want to do that anymore to Cam. There was a time I could allow that, but not anymore. And I transformed. I went from like a quiet little girl to a loud and proud woman just by doing some inner work. And that was the precipice for my awakening and becoming then a coach. And once I started coaching, I naturally was drawn to coach women because it was me coaching myself in a way, right? It's a version of me, someone who doesn't understand her power, who's disempowered, who's in victim mode, who's anxious, who's all of these different things. So I started coaching women and I kept doing the work myself as well. I ended up getting my degree in spiritual psychology. I ended up getting my doctorate in spirituality and just continued down that path of becoming the best possible version of myself that I could be so that I can then help women become that as well. And now my coaching has evolved as I have evolved, and my most recent company is called Divinus Lux, which translates to divine light. And it's me and my beautiful business partner, who is also my best friend. And her and I are on this journey together, and we both have our own complementary skill sets. She's really skilled and certified in certain things, and I'm skilled and certified in certain things. We come together and we've created a really beautiful method, a proprietary method to help women really begin to embody their power and remember who they are.
Wow, just really wow. First of all, can I just really honor you, Kim? Just truly honor you for being the inspiration that you are, for sharing your journey. You are speaking my language. I also very bullied throughout school, also not knowing who I was until it wasn't until later that we start to recognize or remember our true identity and our roles that we're meant to be here. But just thank you for sharing that. And it is such a wonderful thing that you've been able to take your experience and share that with other women. Because I also believe, like when I first started on my journey, I became a life coach also, but like a self-esteem, because my self-esteem was none. So what do is to, in order to develop it ourselves, we help others. So that's why I just want to really honor you to bringing your gifts, your experience to the world.
Thank you.
So much when someone has come from that experience. And I'd love to know, like you're talking about, that it took you a while for you to come into your own power and you were extremely quiet and stuff, for you to have voice. So what do you think is the biggest wound, the silent wound that women in general carry today? And how do they experience it? How does it manifest?
That's such a beautiful question. And it's funny, I've been really into the wounds. This is what I really specialize in. And I think it's two parts. One is the wound of unworthiness, and the other is the wound of not enough. And they can commingle and work together, play together. They're one and the same at the end in terms of energy of where it comes from, but the wounding of the feminine runs so deep and so far. The moment we are conceived in our mother's belly, like that moment in her womb, We are downloaded her program about everything she believes about herself, good or bad, right? And then we're born and we're conditioned and programmed with this whole other set of beliefs. You need to look this way. Your body needs to look this way. Your face needs to look this way. Your hair needs to look that way. This cream will solve this thing will solve that. Everything is outside of you. Never have they taught us that everything we need lies within. They want us to constantly outsource our power.
Yes, totally agree.
And this way, the feminine is controlled. There's this control that the world has on us when we don't see our power. And when we don't see how incredible we are just as we are, regardless of what we look like, regardless of how old we are, regardless of our bodies being big, small, tall, short, whatever. We are controlled because we are so powerful that if we tap into that innate power that we have, the world would look completely different. Right? Like, first, our world, my world has completely transformed, and I still have work to do. Even though I've been doing the work for over a decade longer, it's been 13 years I've been doing the work, the deep inner work. I still have work to do because this conditioning runs so deep. And the program is so deep. And I had to witness my own mother mocking herself every time she looked in the mirror. And I would think she's so beautiful. If she thinks that way of herself, then what about me? And this just gets ingrained in your mind as a child. And then I grew up, I had a weight problem as a kid, and everyone made fun of me every day, calling me fat and this and that and whatever. And this has become one of my most significant things that I've had to work with is just loving myself as I am, regardless of my body going up and down, as it does as a woman. We have hormones, we have children, we have all these different things that happen, but we're just taught and conditioned that you need to look like this and you need to look like this forever. It's ridiculous.
I totally agree that it's the world that we live in, and you would think that after so many decades, even hundreds of years, but especially decades, where it's totally changed, that it's now a very masculine world, but we still haven't got there. Not quite. But do you think that the world is ready? Do you think that society is ready for a shift where women can really step into their power to embody their sovereignty? Or are there still barriers? And how the hell do we overcome them?
I think that if every woman really steps into her power, society doesn't have a choice. It doesn't matter if it's ready. If women really took, because here's the thing, I understand it's a masculine world, but unconsciously, subconsciously, whatnot, women have agreed to that.
Yes, we're allowing it.
We're allowing it 100%. We allowed it from the moment we just said, oh, okay, I guess this is the way that it is. And I have to, and how many women do you see showing up in their masculine instead of actually embodying their feminine, which is so much more powerful? Embodying your feminine is where your power lies, but instead we're conditioned to believe we need to show up like men.
Yes.
Because it's a man's world, right? So if every woman really took some time for herself to begin to do some elements of the inner work and tap into the ancient wisdom that lies in her DNA, the world will transform just from that energy.
And I agree totally. And I want to go into that. I really want to go into that. But can we go into, we're talking about women stepping into their powers. Why do we resist it? What's the most common resistance that you've experienced that women have to stepping into their own power and making it their world, to go back to the divine feminine?
I've witnessed a number of things. A part of it is just the fact that it's not easy. It takes work, it's hard. And it also requires you to take full responsibility for where you are. No more blaming the external world, no more blaming men, no more blaming anything or anyone. It's you taking full responsibility. Your soul called all of this in. There is no victim anywhere ever. Your soul agreed to this. Your soul is here in this experience because you called that in. That's really hard for a lot of women to hear. It's really hard for, what do you mean? But it's the patriarchy and it's the men and it's the this. No, it's not. You were the one who called it in. So now that you're here, are you ready to take full responsibility? And it can be very confronting, right? I've had women that quit in the middle of the work because it's confronting. It's hard for them to see the truth of themselves. So that's number one thing I see. Another thing that I see very frequently as well is fear of your own power. It's a fear of our own power because we are so incredibly powerful and we do manifest every single thing that happens to us, good or bad. And we have called in all of these experiences that we are surrounded by. And to go into full ownership of that and to understand and to grasp that in its entirety can be really scary for some. It takes a lot of courage to really understand your power and to begin to really do the work to embody your divine feminine.
It does, but the experience is so wonderful and so rewarding once
I
you've
agree.
sometimes, as you've experienced too, and a lot of women too, a lot of people, not just women, men do as well, but to go into the dark night of the soul, to really tap into that power that we have within. And when it's released, when we can step into that energy, then amazing things can happen. As you said, we manifest everything, especially when we're in touch with that inner power.
Absolutely. As much as many dark nights of the soul as I've been through, and as much of this work that I've done, and as difficult as parts of it has been, it is the most rewarding thing in the world. I would never take any of it back. I love the fact that I'm in full ownership of my life and myself. I love the fact that I never go into victim consciousness anymore. I love the fact that I'm able to understand and grasp my power as much as I'm able to. There's nothing in the world more worth it than doing this work. And that being said, it's also not for everyone.
No, not everyone's ready.
Yeah, exactly.
They might have to go through to continue their journey to have other experiences before it's their time. And that could be at any age of the soul of the journey, whether it's this lifetime or another, which is a whole
Exactly.
conversation, which we can continue on another conversation, Cam, because I would love to have you back. For you, and if you would like to share, we're talking about taking back our power. First of all, what I'd love to know is from your experience, is there any ways that women unknowingly give away their power? And what are some steps, some practical steps to take it back, to start becoming that sovereign that we are, to step in our own?
Yeah, everything comes down to awareness. And you're asking, how do women unknowingly give their power away? They do that every day and they have no idea. For example, when I was younger and just in my communication, just in the way that I spoke, in the things that I would say, I would never stand up for myself. But did I do that knowingly? No. This was an unconscious pattern, unconscious behavior that I had that my ego believed it kept me safe because I had a fear of conflict.
Mm.
Right. And I also have trauma from many different things from childhood. And so speaking up at that time in my life meant I will be harmed.
Yes.
So I didn't know that. I was just operating in my unconscious ways. So once I started doing the work and I came into this space of self-awareness, I understood, oh, wow, okay, I am not speaking because I'm afraid that somebody is going to hurt me. So the very first, most practical step is self-awareness. How do you gain self-awareness? One common way is meditation. Sit in meditation, sit in stillness, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot. When I first started meditating, I only meditated 1 minute at a time because I did not have the ability to sit there with my thoughts. I didn't know how to do it. So I put myself up to just 1 minute. 1 minute, I'm going to sit here for 1 minute and do my best to meditate. And then 1 minute turned into 2 minutes, into 3 minutes, into 4 minutes, into 5 minutes. And I finally was able to get myself to a space where I was able to sit. And sitting in that brings you to a sense of witnessing yourself. Sitting in meditation brings you to a sense of witnessing yourself. So meditation is the easiest, cheapest way to get you to a space to begin to have self-awareness. Also journaling. Journaling in a way where you're just releasing the thoughts that's on your mind. They call it free-form writing, they call it automatic writing, whatever you want to call it. Just a dump of everything that's going on inside of you, and then you rip it up and throw it away or you burn it. If you want to take it a step further than that, you hire somebody like me, like a coach, who can bring awareness to your blind spots, to these unconscious patterns that you have. Because again, if somebody had told me back then that I was doing that I wasn't standing up for myself, I would disagree. I didn't know. I legitimately had no idea that I was doing that. I was so hidden in my pattern.
Yes.
So having a therapist or a coach or someone that really knows what they're doing in this work brings attention to these blind spots, and you're able to begin to peel back the layers, follow the line of energy. Where did this behavior first begin? What makes me believe that my voice causes harm? And a lot of women have this is a collective wound. My voice causes harm. It has to do with our past lives as witches. It has to do with so many different things that we have endured in this consciousness of being a woman that there's a lot of layers of the onion to peel.
A lot
Yeah.
of layers, and excuse me, and again, I agree with everything you said, so thank you. And definitely, for everyone who's watching or listening to our podcast, do click on the links below and reach out to Cam, because Cam, I think you would be an amazing coach. And exactly what you said, quite often, and it's the same for everyone, because we're so caught up in our lives, we don't see what's really going on. We don't see those little things. We've got those blind spots where someone outside of us can see and can easily help point them out so we can release them and let them go. I will personally be checking out your website and everything else that you've got to offer, because it's incredible. But I'd love to know, again, in your journey with your business partner and everything else in your businesses, for you, what do you think, what role does the sisterhood or having a community to belong to play in healing our wounds and empowering ourselves, giving ourselves voice?
It's absolutely crucial. Another collective wound is the sister wound. And the sister wound is the wound that shows up as jealousy, as comparison. How come she's thinner than me? How come she's prettier than me? How come she has a nicer this than me, nicer that than me? This is a collective feminine wound that really needs attention. And so when you work in community with your fellow sisters, when you work in a safe space that is guided, intentional, with like-minded women all on a similar journey to embody their power, embody their divine feminine, not only does your own healing take place, whatever traumas that and pains that you're working through, but at the same time, you start getting this really beautiful, pure support from these fellow women. And in my journey, when I was growing up, and even in my up to my 20s through my 30s, I didn't have girlfriends that were, how do I say this? There was always jealousy on their side. And I didn't understand that. I'm not somebody who was that way. But I do understand the sister wound very much. And so once I came into community with these women, and there are these women around me that genuinely care about my growth, that genuinely care about me becoming my best self, that are not doing it from a space of agenda, that are doing it truly from a space of love and empowerment and support. That by itself is so healing. It helped me push through things that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do as quickly by myself. And now having my business partner is a great example. She's my best friend as well. The friendship that we have, the sisterhood that we have, the trust that we have within each other, the pure love that we share with one another is something I have craved my whole life. And to have that from a fellow like woman with not even an ounce of jealousy, not an ounce of comparison, none of that has been such a healing experience on its own. And so we bring this energy also to our women's community that we have to help women really begin to remember what it looks like to be in a space where you just celebrate your fellow woman. And that's it.
And isn't that powerful and amazing to be in a space where you can just celebrate other women, where
Yes.
there is no jealousy and there is no comparison? Such a wonderful place to be in. It was so powerful. And again, thank you ever so much for bringing this to the world, because it's such a needed thing, an energy that adds to the healing of the world. Tell us more about your community, the Divine Feminine community. Tell us about that. What do people experience? How we'll be putting links below, but what's the process of joining? Can any woman join?
So it is an application only community just because we want to make sure that everyone that's in there is understanding of this dynamic. We are my business partner, Amber and I have been very careful and selective to make sure that it is a community where everyone feels supported, everyone feels loved. And so the application really helps that. It is a small community for now, and the way that it's structured is basically it's all on Zoom, and we do monthly meetings. Every month we get together. It's usually the fourth Wednesday of every month. And Amber and I both guide it. I do it with the Akashic Records open, which is really beautiful because that brings in the intuition piece. And women come in, share whatever challenges they're going through, whatever hardships they're facing, whatever, maybe they have a blockage, maybe they're not seeing something, whatever it might be. It's a really beautiful, safe space for them to come and speak their truth, get the support and the guidance that they need. And at the same time, they're there supporting one another as well. And it's been a beautiful experience.
It would be. I can feel the energy of that. And again, I'll definitely be checking it out. And we will be putting, like I said, your links below. And tell us more, Pam, like again, in your experience with even yourself and your clients, when someone really wants to live a life in alignment, to be authentic, right, to really change what they're doing and to become real, because not everyone's real. We tend to hide behind masks, but they're really wanting to become authentic. What are some experiences symptoms? What are some red flags that people would experience, see, that indicates that they're not in alignment? And what can they do about it?
It can show up a number of different ways. I personally love to honor my intuition with everything that I do. And I think a big red flag is when you have that gut feeling and this is the way that would be for my highest good, but instead you go this way, right? Like you're still operating in your wounding when you choose to go this way. And this is self-sabotage. This is self-betrayal. I know I'm supposed to go right and that would honor me and fulfill me, but I'm going to go left because I'm curious what lurks in there. And what ends up happening, you get hurt in some way, shape, or form. Something is off.
Yes.
And we've all done this. I've done it myself. I was the queen of self-sabotage for a very long time. It took me a lot of work to finally get to a space of fully honoring myself and my intuition. And women, we are like, we come onto this experience as a human with such a strong intuition. We have an intuition that men don't have. We know this, right? And this is a superpower, but we're conditioned to live in our mind. We're conditioned to believe that the answers lie in here when they all lie in here and in our gut. So we question ourselves. As soon as we get an intuitive hit, actually, maybe it's better if I go this way. So working on your intuition and helping yourself come into alignment with that, aligning your chakras, aligning yourself, aligning your truth, and coming to a space of understanding what it is that I want, where am I going, here's the vision I have for myself, and then taking the steps that honor that. The biggest red flag, again, is self-betrayal, self-sabotage.
We really want to do something or get that guidance, as you said, the intuition or the guidance to do something, but yet these thoughts come and it's, oh no, I'll just get distracted. I'll just go that way instead of turning, we'll go left because it looks so much easier and so much beautiful over there. Even though help us grow. So understand. And what are some biggest misconceptions in your experience? You maybe even mentioned about the divine feminine energy that, you know, that people just get so wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's this misconception that being in your feminine or in your divine feminine means you're weak. Or it means that you will appear weak or that you will fail in some way, shape, or form. Again, we're living in a world where we're conditioned to be like men. And men, I mean, there are exceptions to this case, obviously, but many of them are operating in their wounded masculine. Therefore, the women are operating in their wounded feminine and in their wounded masculine, since we both have both energies, right? And the men are operating in their wounded feminine with their mother wounds and everything else that goes into that. It's unfortunate that there's a skewed perception of the power of the feminine, because again, there's nothing more powerful. There is nothing more powerful. And there's so much religious dogma as well that has made women look bad, and none of those are true. There's so many stories that we're raised with to believe that women were the evil ones or the bad ones or the witches or all of these things. The truth is that women were the most powerful all along. And then someone came along and decided to flip the whole script and create a whole story that God is a he and that all the women are subordinate to that. This is all a lie. And if women connected to themselves and their intuition, they would remember that. They would remember that we're being told his story, history, his story. We're not being told the truth. We're being told his story. The truth has never been written. So this unfortunate view that being in your feminine means that you're weak is furthest from the truth. Being in your feminine means you are absolutely empowered, embodied, flowing, and you're happy, you're fulfilled. You're living in this energy that is magnetic. Everything comes to you, as opposed to, oh, I'm gonna go and work like a man, and I'm gonna show up like this, and I'm gonna do this, and you're sitting there just do. That doesn't magnetize anything towards you. That just makes you live in this space of unfulfillment and this space of darkness. You might have temporary moments of wins and temporary things, but then you always are chasing the next. You're not allowing yourself to be in your feminine, not allowing yourself to be in your power, not allowing yourself to embody your wisdom.
And that's so very true. So can I ask, how can women really start to step into power? Now, I know you've mentioned meditation, which I agree with,
Yeah.
and totally agree with that. But what if someone is feeling completely lost?
Yeah. Yeah.
What practical steps can they take to really go from surviving to becoming their own sovereign?
So the process that I personally love to do with clients that I've done for years, it's basically bulletproof if you really commit to it all, is a three-part process. First is inner child work. Connecting with your little one, connecting with your little girl, because she is the one that has all of these different stories that aren't true. So you want to connect to her, and I would encourage you on a daily basis. Speak to her. It takes time to connect with her if you have never connected with her. It requires patience. It requires discipline at a level that is far beyond what you might be used to, but it is so worth it. You connect with your little girl, you begin to get nuggets of wisdom, nuggets of love, nuggets of just, it's such a beautiful, powerful experience. Inner child work is absolutely essential, number one, for men, women, everyone. Nobody, like, everyone will benefit from that. Another thing is a similar process, but connecting to your divine feminine. The same way you connect to your inner child, you can also connect to your divine feminine. And you do this, seated in meditation. I actually have a guided meditation of the inner child meditation on my own podcast that I haven't updated in a long time, but I do have a really powerful inner child guided meditation there that's really great. It's called the Kashani Show. It's on Spotify. That same process can be used to connecting with your divine feminine. You speak to her, and in her consciousness, your wounds don't exist. There is no wounding in the consciousness of the divine feminine. There's only unconditional love and power. And connecting with her can teach you how to show up in the world and can remind you who you actually are. And then the last piece of it is connecting with your higher self and speaking to your higher self. Higher self teaches you that you're not a victim, that you called everything in, that all of the experiences that you have gone to are meant to serve you, but it is up to you whether you will accept that invitation or not. It is up to you to decide, oh, this terrible thing happened to me, so therefore I'm going to be a victim forever, or this terrible thing happened to me and I'm going to make me better. In my case, my pain has always become my power. And the way I have done this has been with these processes. These processes, along with some other things here and there, but consistently, when I have needed to really go deep into my stuff, those are the three processes. And these are the processes I do with clients as well. It's transformational.
Thank you. And again, I can see how it is transformational. And for everyone who's watching or listening, we've just had an amazing coaching session from the beautiful Pam. So do yourself a favor and click on those links, because I know that you offer so much more. And I'm certainly going to be checking out your podcasts and the links that are below with the meditation too. Thank you. So Cam, it has been an honor. Really, I'd love for you to come back. But before we wrap up, is there any other questions that I could have asked you, especially about the divine feminine revolution
Mm.
How can we actually really step into that? And how would you have answered it? Anything else that you would like to share?
I think I really just want to close with the world will transform overnight if women remember who they are. And it is up to each and every single woman listening to this to begin to take the steps to remember who you are at a core level. You are not a victim. You are not, there's nothing wrong with you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your body looks like. There's nothing you cannot fight through to become your most embodied and powerful self. And when I say fight through, the fight is with you. To really sit there and let yourself do the work to heal so that you can remember how incredibly powerful you are. It will make you a happier, more fulfilled human. It'll make you a better mother if you're a mother. It'll make you a better wife if you're a wife. It'll make you a better everything. Most of all, it'll make you the happiest and best you. And the world will shift as a result. There's no solution that comes from out there. The solution is inside.
And I can just imagine while you're talking about that, I was getting like visions. It is really a ripple effect, just one woman at a time affecting others, affecting, before you get to critical mass.
And we just need a tipping point. We just need a tipping point.
That's it.
Once that energy hits, the world transforms as a result.
Yes. And our lives and everything around us and about us will transform incredibly. I'm really looking forward to going on that journey with you, Cam, and all the other women. But for today, right now, just thank you. Seriously, really thank you for coming on as a guest for the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. And please do come back.
I would love to. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day.
You too. Thank you.
Pam Kashani's final thoughts truly encapsulates the essence of our conversation. The world will transform overnight if women remember who they really are. And if today's discussion sparks something in you, take it as a sign to begin a journey of remembrance. Click on the links below for everything that Cam has to offer. Be sure to check out her transformational community, Divin Lux, and her podcast, The Cam Kashani Show. At Sacred You, we are here to create a space for connection, empowerment, and transformation. Join us at www.sacredu, that's the letter U, .love for more conversations like this. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, please subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. As Cam shared, healing begins when we reconnect with our inner child, our divine feminine, and our higher self. The journey to empowerment isn't about overnight change. It's about small, intentional steps. Remember, your intuition is your compass, community is your catalyst, and responsibility is your revolution. Until next time, stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep walking your pathway to well-being. From our heart to yours, thank you.